You said dreams are dusty, babe, just like my shoes. Laughed in my face, now I sing the blues. 2 years gone by, but love's still confused. Moved in last week, but did I just lose? You call me a joke while I hold your hand. Invest in my dreams, but you don't understand. Chasing the stars while I'm still here standing. Can't see the goal for your own demands. Dusty dreams in a cardboard box, built by hope and its ticking clocks. Believe in me like I believe in you. Dusty dreams might just come true. Sleepless nights and my mind keeps racing. Heart beats fast in this dream I'm chasing. Both of us stuck in this, what are we facing? Is love enough when trust is erasing? Dusty dreams in a cardboard box, built by hope and its ticking clocks. Believe in me like I believe in you. Dusty dreams might just come true. Lend me your faith, not just your pity. In this big world or in this big city, hand in hand we can build something pretty. Believe in each other, it's more than just witty. Dusty dreams in a cardboard box, built by hope and its ticking clocks. Believe in me like I believe in you. Dusty dreams might just come true. Lend me your faith, not just your pity. In this big world or in this big city, hand in hand we can build something pretty. Believe in each other, it's more than just witty.
We stand afraid of shadows cast by doubt, whispered fears of what they'll talk about. Got dreams that wait in line behind our pride, but courage lives where fear is set aside. So many dreams collected dust on shelves, scared to fail, so we hide our true selves. But life will pass and so will all those stairs. Nobody's watching as much as we think they care. So step into the light, don't fear the fall. The only limits here are built by walls. Tear them down and seize what you deserve. You're stronger than the whispers you've heard. Got plans to make, but fear keeps you in place. Afraid to lose, or maybe scared to chase. But what if magic waits around the bend? Go grab it now, don't let the doubters win. We wear these masks to hide what we believe, but truth has power when worn on your sleeve. Reach for the stars, they're closer than they seem. Your path is clear, don't let them steal your dream. So step into the light, don't fear the fall. The only limits here are built by walls. Tear them down to chase. But what if magic waits around the bend? Go grab it now, don't let the doubters win. We wear these masks to hide what we believe. But truth has power when worn on your sleeve. Reach for the stars, they're closer than they seem. Your path is clear, don't let them steal your dream.
Tech Coach Ralph, tough as nails, no disguise. Pushing limits, yeah, he's that kind of guy. At first it's harsh, the rules feel like chains. But trust the process, there's sunshine in the rains. He cracks the whip, but it's all in love. Results shining bright like stars above. Tech Coach Ralph, you light the way. Through sweat and tears, you help us play. With every lesson, we find our might. From morning grind to the stars at night. Days turn to weeks, skills sharp and fast. What once was a struggle now feels like a blast. Step by step, we rise and we glow. With Ralph in our corner, we're ready to show. Singing his praises, can't keep it inside. From hard ass to hero, he's our pride. Tech Coach Ralph, you light the way. Through sweat and tears, you help us play. With every lesson, we find our might. From morning grind to the stars at night. So here's to Ralph, the coach we need in this game of growth. He plants the seed. So here's to Ralph, the coach we need in this game of growth. He plants the seed.
The hate is real already in the building. I tell you, you see how they do me? You see how they do me? Look. My AI album is coming out soon, and you are absolutely going to love it. I'm just saying. What up? What up? See, this must be my lucky night, because while your car and Alexis are hating on my AI album coming out soon, I have my biggest advocate for the AI music in the building. We got Roxy. See, Roxy, if I had seen you earlier, I would have played your song. Welcome, Roxy. Thank you. See, I have backup. I have backup in the building. Welcome, everybody, to another Tuesday night episode of Tech Q&A with yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where we're engineer to win. Let me turn on the call-in link. The link is pinned to the top of the chat as well as in the description. If you have a question, you want to talk about tech, you know what to do. Click on the link and we can have a conversation. But you know how we do on Tuesday nights. I am going to jump into our agenda. You know, we were having a little conversation in chat before we got started because you know, I have an unruly group. I have an unruly group. Sometimes they're a little stuck in their ways, you know, but I'm going to get them around. I am going to get them around. Like, I said, Yakar liked one of my AI songs the other day. He admitted it under oath, or maybe not under oath, but you know how we do. So let's get into our agenda. The call-in link is open if anybody wants to call in. It's open, but we're going to get started off with the show. Let me get our agenda for today. So this is the Q&A show. Let me turn on my timer as well. I forgot to turn on my timer. Let's turn on the timer for 2 hours. We're going to go for 2 hours tonight, and then we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to answer as many questions as possible. I have some great questions, and if we have questions from the chat or anybody call in, we can handle that as well. But to start off, the way that we always start off, I have to say a big, big, big thank you to all of the subscribers to the channel, the new ones, the old ones, those who interact with me on a daily basis, those who watch from the clouds but support anyways. For all of you guys.
I appreciate you.
I really do appreciate you. You guys give me ideas and inspiration and just, great conversation. You guys share your perspectives and I share mine. And sometimes you find out that your perspective is wrong. I'm just kidding. It's just difference of opinions, all right? And I want to say a big, big shout out to all of my tech savages out there, my tech barbarians who are winning and leveling up. I actually have a coaching call today at 10:30 Eastern time, a orientation call for my newest tech barbarian. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So shout out to the tech barbarians, the tech savages, the tech prodigy members, the technical explorers. Shout out to you all who are getting that work in every single day.
Let's get it.
And always, always, always a big, big salute to the tech mercenaries, those YouTube members.
We the best.
And I can never, ever, ever, so much support. Shout out to the bag chasers.
Money.
And shout out to my brother, Yakar, always putting in the work day in and day out. I'm telling you, that guy, he has a lot on his shoulders, but he always shows up. Shout out to Mr. Technique, Yakar.
Hey.
And of course, always got to remember, shout out to my best friend, Mitch, wherever he may be.
Shake your bank.
And I just want to say, welcome back, Alexis. You were missed. So happy to have you back. And shout out to the one, the only, the great, the best nurse that I know. Shout out to Roxy. All right. So with that being said, let's continue with our agenda. Just quick on our next show coming up, we're going to be live tomorrow morning, Coffee and Kata. We're going to be looking at some news stories, and then we're going to be working on testing for our mobile app. Hopefully get it done by next week so we can push it to the App Store and move on with our lives. And then Thursday night, we're going to continue working on the Urban Dictionary of Economic Data to get that deployed. And then not related, but Sunday, we're going to be getting into Kubernetes. We're going to be pivoting away from Google Cloud Platform. We're going to be focused on Kubernetes, all right? And then tomorrow we have software explorations, concept and overviews. It's going to be a little bit of different software explorations. It is going to be I'm going to be showing some tips and tricks that I use when learning how to code, how I trick myself using some QA background and some ideas of test-driven development. I'm going to be showing my strategy that could possibly help you in your endeavors to learn how to code. So that's going to be tomorrow video, software explorations at noon Eastern time. I'll be in the chat to answer any questions if anyone has any, but that's going to be the plan. So that's going to be the show tomorrow. And then reminder, we are going to be starting ethical hacking course in January, probably mid-January. We're going to start ethical hacking in January. We're going to be doing it on Thursday nights. We're going to keep Sundays dedicated to DevOps. So if anyone is interested in ethical hacking, I don't know if I put the link in the description, but I will get the link in the description. I know I do have it as a community post, but it should also be cycling throughout the chat as well. So click it if you're interested in taking the course. It's a Udemy link of a course that I signed up for. I already started it, and it's going to be really, really fun. We're going to learn a lot, and we're going to be very, very well educated for anybody who's interested in ethical hacking and cybersecurity. Learning how to code, all of that is going to be part of it. So join me along for the journey, all right? So with all that being said, with all of that information, you got to do me a favor. You have to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live and drop new content. And if you need additional information, additional tips, additional strategies. If you want to work with me one-on-one, check out techcoachdrive.dev. I actually have to upload the sprint review and the Scrum Night from last week, this week to the Patreon. So I have to get that done. It's going to be done this week. So definitely want to check that out. That's techcoachdrive.dev, right? So let me check the chat real quick, and then we're going to start our Q&A for tonight, okay? And the call-in link is open. If anybody wants to call in, feel free to click on the link, okay? So I was arguing with Yakar and with Alexis because they say that I should not release my AI album of my thoughts and my inspirations for things that I do. But guess what? If I am the only person that listens to it, then that is perfectly okay with me. Alexis says that you cannot be the dealer and the customer. What? Well, I have something for you guys. Look, this is all that I need. If the greatest nurse in the world says thumbs up on the AI album, consider it done. And you know what? I will even send Roxy an autographed copy of my album. All right. I'm just saying. And your guy says, how do you not be a dusty IT employer? Well, that might be above my pay grade. We might have to call in Reggie to answer that question. All right, enough fun and games, Yakar. Enough fun and games. Let's let bygones be. Yakar, we don't need your people coming in here and trying to lecture us on proper etiquette and stuff like that. So let's not even bring that up, Yakar, because I'm not trying to get in trouble over here. You know, they've been trying to come at you, Yakar. Let's have a fun and productive night, Yakar. Let's have a fun and productive night. All right. Okay, let's get the show started. All right, so like I said, feel free to call in. All right. Stop the show. We got Javi in the middle. What's up, Javi? How are you doing? You know what, Javi? I will hand deliver you an autograph copy too once I get it all out. But it might be a little bootleg because I might have to just get a CD drive and burn it on there. I don't know. How do people get autograph copies? Maybe I do a vinyl. You know what? I'm gonna find a way to make a vinyl for you, Javi, and a vinyl for Roxy. Nothing for your car. Nothing for Alexis.
Do not come.
Nothing. All right. And Javi, why aren't you at Nogi? Javi, why are you not at Nogi? Come on, Javi. You gotta be at Nogi. All right. Let's get the show. I gotta make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. Okay. So we are about to get started with the show with our first question of the night.
Another one.
So this first question is about setting up. So this person already set up the automation pipeline for their QA stuff. And now they're like, now what do I do? So I got this question from somebody on Discord. And it says, so I'm currently working at a startup for the last 5 months as a QA engineer. It's just me and my lead here. It's my first job. Meanwhile, we are doing manual testing till now. And now our top management has given us the go-ahead to implement automation testing. So our current stack is as below. On the front end, we've got 3 websites or components primarily. We are using Angular mainly for our website, Vue.js for a separate component, React for a part. It's like, geez, they're just throwing all the, just throw every single framework at it, all right? Backend, we currently use Go mostly, although one of the components use Java still. And our database run mostly on Surreal database. I never heard of Surreal. Whereas one part still uses MS SQL. Oh my goodness, they just have all types of databases, all type of languages, all type of frameworks. It sounds like they're using a bunch of microservices, which that is a good thing if you're using microservices. We also use Benthos to do data streaming and upload data, and Keycloak for authorization and authentication, and Redis DB as well for token clear cache. Azure Cloud is our server, by the way. I've had a hell of a time the past few weeks working with one of my tech barbarians on working through Azure and web apps. It has been a total nightmare just trying to get environment variables to work, right? So here we have actually created some 7 to 8 test cases, which can be termed as regression test cases, and integrated it into Azure CI/CD pipeline so that it runs as a job at 10 p.m. At 8 p.m. every day, where we are actually confused on what to do next. My lead chose robot framework actually with Python as it's simpler to write and mostly use keywords. Any advice on what to do next? All right, so any advice on what to do next after that, right? So regardless of, all right, let me start a timer. Let me start our timer on this really word or a technical salad of softwares and frameworks, and it's like every single language you can think of. They have Java, they have Python, they have Go, they have Angular, they have React, they have Vue, they have like 5 different databases. It's just a whole it's just a whole what is the word melting pot of technology. They just throw it all at the wall. Throw it all at the wall and see what sticks, and hopefully we're marketable. So as far as from a QA perspective, right, all of that stuff you named doesn't really mean much on the QA front. On the QA front, you just have to make sure things work. So it's good that you created those 7 to 8 test cases, which are regression tests. Now, I would say, being that you have so many different things that are happening, they need to be tested. I would say start off with, are there any opportunities for API tests? That's the first thing. Because if you are using, let me see. So you said, all it was said was that it's just regression tests that are integrated in Azure CI/CD pipeline, but it doesn't really say what it's actually testing. So I'm going to assume, which is not good to assume because you know what happens when you assume, but I'm going to assume anyways, right? I don't have the right hat on today if I'm going to be assuming, but regardless, I'm going to assume that it's a UI test because you said you're using robot framework, which is, I believe robot is mainly for UI. I would say look for automation tests so you can have a more robust test suite, test multiple different scenarios of the business logic, instead of only focusing on the UI. 7 to 8 test cases, which are regression tests, they are not good. That's not enough.
Do not come.
You need to have the business logic having a multitude of different tests and combinations, and that the way to achieve that is through the API test. You will not achieve that through testing the UI, whether you're using robot framework, Selenium, Playwright, whatever, right? So that would be my first recommendation. If there's an API, which there should be, you should be writing a flurry of API tests. And once you have those API tests running in the CI/CD pipeline in their own like project or whatever you want to call it, once you have that running through the CI/CD pipeline, now you have more confidence in your API test. Next up, you have to make sure, because although typically QA does not write unit tests, you have to make sure that the developers are actually writing the unit test and that it's getting good coverage, because the unit test a smaller, for lack of a better word, unit of code, so to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. So make sure that, so I think in parallel of writing the API test, make sure the developers are writing unit tests, and make sure that you have visibility of the result of the unit tests, and like the name of the unit, so like what is it actually testing, so that you have, like, so that you know what's happening. You're writing your API test, and then once you have your API test, then you start to look more into the UI tests. If the front end is built on Angular, Vue, and React, right, then I would lean to say that while you can use the robot framework with Python, I would say why not use a more modern automation framework, UI automation framework, where it's going to be pretty much the same language as everything else. So I would recommend, which like 2 years ago I probably would recommend this, right? But at this point, I would recommend probably looking into a Playwright and having Playwright and doing it in JavaScript. Now I know you're gonna say like you're probably going with Python because that's the language you're probably comfortable with. But if you're doing front end tests and the front end is written in JavaScript and Node, because all of those like Vue, React, Angular, they all use Node. So I would suggest that you look into converting those tests into JavaScript and using Playwright to do it. JavaScript or TypeScript, whatever, right? Because it could be written in TypeScript as well. But converting it to that and integrating it into the same repository, so that it's closer to the code, right? And then it makes it easier for everyone else to access. You guys have like a spaghetti of different technologies implemented. So my recommendation is start to clean that up. You can't really control, you can advise, but you can't really control what the different teams and the different development go by. But if you're going to be testing the front end, then you definitely want to use the I would suggest using Playwright. If you're using now for API testing, that can vary. There's different frameworks that you can use, different languages, different frameworks you could use for the API test. It doesn't have to be JavaScript, but if you're like for the front end, because you're using like Angular and stuff like that, I would probably go with Playwright in this instance. But yeah, I mean, all those other details, they really don't matter to the question that you're asking on what's your next step for testing. I would say also in the CI/CD pipeline, have your automation tests run on schedule, as well as have them run on the different pull requests that are opened and things like that. Maybe making a requirement for them to pass in order for it to be allowed to merge, things of that nature. Those little things, and then start writing more tests. Also, after you have your test running, look into implementing different reports, so you can have more visibility on your test. Maybe implementing a report portal where the test gets into that, and now you can track what tests are flaky, what tests are passing because what tests are failing because there's an actual defect versus what tests are failing because the code has been updated, or it could have been like a timing issue. Who knows what? Gives you more insight and more visibility, and then you can report it to the powers that be and go from there. So that is my advice that I would share with you on your next step and go from there. Right? Hopefully that was able to help and give some insight. All right. But with that being said, we're going to wrap that question up. All righty then. So let's see what we got going on in the chat. So, we got my guy in the building, Magnetar, coming in, going straight down the middle, says dunks on everyone. The crowd goes wild. But then he ends up like Klay Thompson when Klay Thompson went for that dunk and he hurt his knee. It was out for the season, lands the wrong way and breaks my ankle.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
Welcome to the show, Magnetar. So happy, as always, to have you here. Oh, man. I'm telling you, your car is the one, like, when you're down, he will just kick you. Helps Magnetar off the court while laughing at him.
Bruh.
Denies the help and acts tough because the girl. You guys are silly. Your car says, I want the first record from the first print, signed and gold plated with a frame. You're just gonna use it as a coaster anyways. You do not appreciate the greatness of my AI music, your car. No. And Alexis trying to act like she doesn't care. Oh darn! Watch. When it blows up and it is being played on every radio station around and on everywhere, it's gonna be played. I'm gonna get a deal with the airports, and then it's gonna blow up, and now you're gonna. And then I'm gonna say, back then you didn't know me. I'm just saying. All right, Mike Jones. All right. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. All right. Alexa says playwright. Playwright. Yup. That is Alexis's favorite. Playwright. Python gets you in the game. Java gets you paid. Rust makes you millions. Look at that.
Money.
Rust makes you a millionaire. I guess we're gonna have to learn Rust next year. I guess we're gonna have to learn Rust next year. My God said, "Dude assaulted me and laughed." Oh my God! All right, the calling link is open. If anybody wants to call in, I'm gonna drop the link in the chat again, in case anybody has a question or whatever you want to talk about. We can do that. But in the meantime, we're going to get to the next question of the night.
Another one.
I missed a defect. How can I ever show my face again?
Bruh.
So it's rough out here. It is rough out here. It says, looking for advice on how to present myself after a defect miss. I work at a bank and have been testing a tricky change with centers around late month base rate changes with other pending account changes, such as a product. Sounds like a question for Mitch, right? It says a product reversion maturity or a product switch to a new product. In a nutshell, when the late month base rate change is input, it's knocking the customer's monthly payment out, and the change was to fix this. I originally started testing this back in February, which I raised the defect due to the version of SQL. The release was developed on not matching our version, and the system was unstable. It took 7 months for the vendors to fix it and return it, which they did out of the blue, and I couldn't pick it up until November due to other work commitments. That's one of the things of working with vendors, is that sometimes they work on their own schedule, and now they just come back at the most inopportune times, and now they're like, well, it's done, test it. And you're like, I don't really have the capacity right now. And it says, it doesn't matter if you have the capacity or not, right? The release needed to be in by the end of the year, as it's holding up another release full of regulatory changes, which is deemed important. Another thing with the banking industry, with the pharma industry, so many regulations. And then after you comply with those regulations, they blame you for things that happen. All right. So we have a work stream called Fast Track, where small changes of no more than 10 days can be tested. So to cut a long story short, why do people do that? They start off with a long story, and then they say, to cut a long story short. You could have started off with a short story and then give us context. But anyways, I digress. My company, to cut a long story short, my company, when planning work for the year, forgot to submit the project, so it was agreed to just move it into the Fast Track scheme. Sounds like a scheme to me. The work involved vastly outweighs a Fast Track scope, and I pushed for it to be moved back into the project fold, which I was told it couldn't, so I made it clear up front that I can't cover each and every scenario due to the time constraints, and will focus on the main ones. So they told you,
do not come.
It is what it is. It happens sometimes, right? During my testing of the complex reversion product, I thought you was going to make a long story short. During my testing of the complex reversion product switch with a late month base rate change, all the calculations match what they should. However, a standard late month base rate with no pending product switch or reversion, which is used to live in environment at the moment when needed, stop due to an issue with the code. This was found by UAT, not me. Unfortunately, I tested this scenario under regression and passed the test, which I should have failed, as the process and the calculations don't work. My bad. And I fully owned up to it. Due to the release now having to go back to the vendor for a further fix, the business have stated it may now never go in due to more important work planned for next year. The head of the servicing department, who the change was for, is apparently not happy and sent a snotty email to the head of testing, who has been very supportive of me, asking why it was missed, how it was missed, etc., which has caused some friction. Jesus Christ, this is long. All right, sorry about that. So I'm telling you, I feel totally bad about this. I've been testing for this team for about 5 years and have never had any issue other than this. And although UAT is there for a reason, it's eating me up inside that I missed this and caused all of this to the point I'm down, miserable, and personally feel I'm suffering for the early stages of depression. What the? Having been on antidepressants in the past due to mental health issues and are currently on anxiety tablets already for a different matter. Geez, that escalated quickly. So, see, this is what work can do to you, right? If you're not strong-willed, this is what work can do to you. I know some are reading this now and probably thinking he's pulling the mental health card to push the blame, etc., which is understandable, but I honestly feel like absolute rubbish. You must not be American if you're using rubbish. At the moment, my work has been supportive, told me that mistakes happen, that that's what UAT is for, and they will deal with it once it's done. I need to forget about it and move on. The system I test, I am the only tester on the team that can test it, and I have been crying. All right, now we're going a little bit extreme here. I've been crying out. Okay, you're crying out for help. Okay, crying out for years for other resources and support, which has never been given. So I do constantly feel a lot of pressure as I have no fallback. Sorry for it to take so much of your time, but do you have any advice on what I should do? All right, so first, gotta be a little bit more concise, right? We're gonna start our timer. It's gonna be shorter to answer the question than it took you to ask the question, all right? But we're gonna start a timer. So, number one. Mistakes do happen. And your work is right. That's what UAT is for. Now, here's the deal. You need to set up some processes in place with your managers, with the other teams who are where you can have like something that we do at work, right? Me and the QAs on my team, we meet with our support representative, and we meet with our product owner, product manager, and and our engineering manager, right? And every other week we have a discussion about what defects are pending and which ones are having a significant customer impact, and how can we prioritize it. So that if there is something that is critical, like the thing that you were talking about, there is more awareness, and it's not like pushed to the back burner until like, oh, now that I have some time for it. No, if it's really important to the company, then it shouldn't be on one person to figure out, well, I'll get to this when I have some time to get to it. It should be more of what is the plan? Like what is the priority on this? If this is top priority, then we need to start we need to get this into like I don't know if you guys work with sprints or with Kanban, but get it into the to-do list. And that way it can be tested and it can have UAT earlier rather than later. You got to figure it out. Now the next thing that I would say is I think one of the mistakes that people make is that they look back on the past and they just let that eat at them for so long, when there is absolutely nothing you can do to change the past. This is not Back to the Future, right? You cannot go in the past and change it. What you can do, the only thing you can do from the past is learn from it. You cannot continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. But you can learn from one mistake and say, okay, it's not the idea of like, oh, well, I will never make this particular mistake again. And now I have to you're going to spend hours upon hours and upon hours on testing every single potential defect. What you have to do is, okay, based on what happened, what kind of processes can I put in place to implement this? What strategy can I employ so that this won't happen? I mean, there was the process of UAT that was in place, but if you're looking to how can we catch this before it gets to UAT, which the UAT is technically the last line of defense, which the process worked. But like you said, you are the only person who is working on a multitude of other things. You've asked for help, and maybe it's a blessing in disguise that they say, okay, this one fellow is trying to, like, they were not able to get to this for this amount of time because they were working on all these other more important things that we deemed. So we do need to, like, maybe the people that you do UAT, we can use them to start testing earlier when these vendors just randomly come out of the blue and say, hey, this is fixed, we need it to be tested. And because of our priorities that we have set for our one individual tester, hey, can somebody look into this? Can somebody look into